basically.
Yeah, man. My name is Jubba White, Jamaican born, and if we use the word bred, let's say bred, Jamaican born and bred, lived for pretty much most of my life. I'm a drummer, producer, and now recording artist.
Awesome. Can you tell us about your musical journey and how you got started in the musical industry?
Man, my musical journey. Let me put on my specs to tell you this one. Yes. So, man, like, I was born and raised in a home with a mother that was just so musically inclined. Like, whenever she would do the chores around the house, you know, all I could hear was joyful sounds. She would just sing. You know, she's always singing, she's just always having fun. There's never a downtime, you know, in her taking care of us as kids, you know, or just doing her daily chores, you know, as a housewife. And so, as early as 3 years old, I guess that's something that just became a part of me. So, I was hitting pots and pans around the house, you know, singing on top of my voice, you know, just following in her footsteps. You know, so that's really how it started. I guess it, you know, it came straight from the womb. And, you know, she was also a foundation member in her church, avid church goer. And so as her son, you know, obviously, you know, that became a part of my journey as well. And so, you know, when the church got its first drum kit at 8 years old, I was the drummer. It's a long story. So, you know, moving on from there, you know, through to high school, met up with, you know, a few colleagues. And at the age of, say, 14, 15, we started playing music together. And we had quite an interesting journey, you know, together for some years where we played on many recordings together. We did our first tour together. With some of the foundation members of reggae music, you know, people like Mighty Diamonds, the Ethiopians, Epitones, and for several years, you know, we did a lot, you know, touring with them, you know, 4 to 6 weeks at a time, you know, at least 2 to 3 times a year throughout Europe. And I'd say, even though I went to Edna Manley College of Visual and Performing Arts, you know, to study music, it was supposed to be 3 years. By my second year was when I started touring. But touring with these legends was like a college within itself. I learned so much, you know, not just playing with them, but, you know, actually through the reasonings and, you know, understanding. Even though being a Jamaican, born and raised in Jamaica and facing a lot of the same things that influenced the music. But you know, learning a lot from them in terms of their personal, you know, experiences, you know, really solidified my understanding of our music, of our culture. And so I give thanks for those experiences.
Okay, that's an amazing response. You've worked with some incredible artists throughout your career. Can you share any memorable experiences or collaborations that have had any significant impact on you besides that one?
I mean, man, like, that's the foundation right there, you know, working with those foundation artists. But as a result of working with those artists, you know, the evolution continued. And so it got to the point where, you know, we formed a band together. And we continued doing a lot of recordings. We were both studio musicians and touring musicians. And this is where the name Dubtonic Kru came about. We were a 5-member self-contained band that pretty much toured a great portion of the world. We represented our country, Jamaica, in a band competition called the Global Battle of the Bands, which, you know, the final included, you know, 17 bands, you know, representing their nation. And it so happened that we, as a result of the unanimous vote, from the judges, we were awarded, best new band of the year, um, that year.
Yeah.
Global Battle of the Bands, champions. We were also awarded the Simba Award and also congressional proclamation from Congresswoman in New York for our contributions, to communities, through music. And so, all these things, even though accolades are what they are, the significance of those things, really speaks to the work that we've done as musicians, to get to the point that, we were recognized, with those. So yeah, I mean, those are moments that are really, really stays with I and I.
As a producer and a songwriter, what is your creative process like? How do you approach writing and producing songs?
Man, it varies because life itself inspires. Life is an inspiration. So the people you meet, the journeys you take, and so it might be me taking a 1 hour, a 5 hour, or a 10 hour drive, and based on the terrains I'm going through, just being able to, even though concentrating on the driving, but losing myself in the moment, of travel that brings melodies, and that's one way. So it takes so many different, channels.
Yeah. Can you share any insight or advice for up and coming artists who are looking to make their mark in the music industry right now?
Be true to yourself. Truth lasts. Be you. Be as authentic as you can be, because you cannot be anyone else more than you can be yourself. And in addition to that, be persistent. There are no specific, or there is no specific blueprint. But if you love and if you're passionate enough about what you do as an artist, whichever, discipline, whether it be music or fine arts, or whatever, whichever discipline, if you're passionate about it enough and you are original enough and you persevere enough, success will always be there, because success should not be defined by what the outside world sees it to be, but by your own standards. And so that is what I say: originality and persistence.
Oh yeah. What do you hope your listeners take away from your music and performances?
Man, that 4-letter word is very, very important to me, because when I share my music, when I share my art, whether it is through sounds or words, people get the best of me. Music is so much a part of me, and it comes from a place of love. So when I share, that is what I expect to be felt by the audience, because that's where it's coming from. It's coming from the deepest part of me.
Right.
So I wouldn't expect anything else to be felt. And if anything else is felt, that's on the part of the individual, because it's coming from a place of truth, a place of love. And so, yeah, music for me is life, it is love, and it is an expression.
Okay. And let's end it with this. How do you envision the future of reggae music and the role it's spreading positive messages and uplifting communities currently?
Once again, that 4-letter word is so important. But there's so much more to reggae that it undertakes, because there's so much that is happening and that is affecting us, in the world today. as a part of this human family. And so, while reggae speaks of one love and unity, to get to that place, there are lots of other issues that are there to be dealt with. And so, equality, equity, right? Reggae music deals with all those things. It's one love. So the word one is so important. And for it to be one, we have to include the word equality. And so, that is what I expect, of the work through reggae music, because that's what it represents. And since I've traveled so extensively in so many parts of the world, what I've realized is that reggae is so much more a bigger music than we realize. But it seemed to have more of an underground effect, on people. Because it deals with all the issues, so many of the issues that are affecting people of various backgrounds. And when I say various backgrounds, may it be cultural, religious, racial, whatever. So many different backgrounds, people are able to connect with reggae music because it speaks to the issues that are affecting us. So yes, once again, love, and to arrive at love, equality. And so that is what I expect that reggae will continue, to bring. A message of peace, hope, equality, love.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for giving
Much
us this
respect,
interview, man.
Much